Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of old school Magic the Gathering, and today we're looking at a deck I have yet to show on the channel, and that is the deck, or the famous blue-white multicolor control deck in the format. It's going to go up against a singleton deck that has one of many different powerful cards. It's super fun. I'm going to do a quick deck tech of that deck, and I'll link in the description below to a great overview of the deck. I think maybe most people watching may already know how it works, so I'm going to skip the deck tech today, but you can find a link to the deck and this other video that will explain how it works in the comments below. So let's take a quick look at the singleton deck and then dive right into the best 2 out of 3 match. So singleton decks, of course, are never going to be consistent, but that could also make them fun and a little chaotic, as each game you might draw totally different cards. You see here this deck is going to be packing all the most powerful creatures from the Legends set. If they're able to get the 5/5 Soul Canar with Swamp Walk down, the deck player does have black dual lands, so that may be a great win condition there. Of course, there's Transmute Artifact, of course, is a wonderful tutor card in a deck like this, so you could switch, for instance, your Fellwar Stone and bring out an Icy Manipulator if the board state calls for it. So this is definitely not a 7-point singleton deck, of course, where you can only use so many of the powerful cards. This has the Library of Alexandria, the Mind Twist, the big Mahamoti Djin, a Time Walk. So it's going to be a real mixed bag every time this deck gets played. My gut reaction is I think that the deck handles creature matchups pretty well, but I mean, we'll see how quickly some of these big guys can get down onto the board. So let's just go ahead and dive right into the match. I'm curious how this one will perform. All right, let's take a look here. We've got the deck on the left and the singleton deck on the right. It's one of those things where the singleton deck is way cooler than the standard control deck. We're going to start off with the Black Lotus and an Ancestral Recall. But this the singleton deck, way cooler. Decent amount of time probably went into making it, so. One thing I like about webcam Magic is playing people and getting ideas for decks. You know, and then copying or making your own versions of it. You have to meet a lot more people outside your core friend group that you play with. And here we saw, with the Black Lotus, a really early Serra Angel. Again, usually the deck is going to take it slow and not play aggressively, but if you could drop an early Serra, and then to see a perfect response in the big Mahamoti Djin, 5/6 flyer is, of course, bigger and much more beefy than the 4/4 Flying Vigilance Serra Angel. And there is just 5 damage early from the singleton deck. There was a big Brain Geyser going to get countered. So the deck here is going to need, I mean, can eventually chump block, but it's going to need a Swords to Plowshare, or an early Djin is tough. But both the Factory and the Serra Angel, pretty much the 2 ways the deck wants to win. Also has a Fireball. Okay, so that's going to come in. And second main phase, Recall. So that's blue. And double X, going to discard a Disenchant and get back the Ancestral Recall. Why not get back the best card ever printed and just play it again? Of course, just digging for removal for the Mahamoti. Another, it's 10 damage already coming in with this one creature. And there's a Transmute Artifact, so looks like we're going to transmute a Mox, a Soul Ring. And of course, with Transmute Artifact, you have to pay the difference. And here comes an Icy Manipulator. So that Icy is going to take care of the Serra Angel. And honestly, the singleton deck looking good right now. I feel like a couple years ago in old school, Mahamoti Djin was much more prominent. I feel like I haven't seen him pop up in tournaments, or maybe I've just missed it. Okay, we're gonna get a time twister. Okay, this is potentially good for the deck again at this point. Just looking for removal, and there's a lot in this control deck. So we'll just skip ahead past the shuffling. Okay, I'm gonna double Mox off the time twister, and there. Okay, and a Chaos Orb. That will do it. Okay, Serra Angel's going to get tapped down by Icy Manipulator. Definitely going to flip the orb on the big Djin. But of course that Icy Manipulator still is going to hold at least the Angel at bay, although the factory can start coming in. Oh, never mind. It's going to get disenchanted. So that was a huge time twister for the deck. Getting removal for both of those cards. And we will see what 7. The Singleton deck drew, Black Lotus, Island. Let me get the Transmute Artifact, which was shuffled back in. And I guess he going to transmute for a orb. Again, Transmute Artifact's such a cool card. Great, basically a tutor effect for artifacts. And when you're using a deck that's Singleton, you know, you have one off, you have one of everything in there. And hard to predict what you're going to transmute for. But Serra Angel's been taken care of. So we had a pretty explosive start from both the decks. And kind of just slowing down here, although the deck has a lot of mana. And we're going to get a counter spell on the Mind Twist. And then the second Serra Angel. The pressure will be back on here. Oh, and there's a great answer. The Coffin. So for 3 mana, he can take a creature and put it in the coffin. So next turn, probably that Serra Angel is going to get in for an attack, but it's going to get sucked up into that coffin. And when creatures come out of the coffin, they come out tapped. So you could, you know, dump a creature out on your opponent's, or you dump a creature out. Oh, and a Berserk. So is he berserking the Serra Angel? No, the factory. Okay, yeah, because he wants to put the angel in the coffin. Going down the 4 life though. But yeah, I still remember the first time someone used Berserk as removal against me. I was like, my mind was blown. I had never thought of that. I mean, many years ago, but creative way to get rid of a factory. Oh boy, here's the, we're gonna get a counter on the Jade statue, Alpha 40 staple. Personally love Jade statue. Right, and now we're gonna get the Serra Angel thrown into the coffin, never to be seen again. Oh, maybe it'll come out. We'll see. And oh, top decking a factory. The thing is, when you're playing against or with the deck, it's like, oh, copy artifact. I'm guessing on the coffin, yeah. Lightning bolt. Oh, and he has this one card as a mana drain. Denying the deck. Here comes the factory. He's going to take a damage to put it away in the coffin. So everything is being answered. Okay, so untapping a coffin, out comes the angel, comes out tapped. Back into the coffin it goes. And top decking another factory. Ooh. Thing is, when you're playing with or against the deck, it doesn't matter. It has one life. It's just it could just turtle behind an abyss. It could turtle behind a bunch of counter spells, and just sit there and wait until it gets factories and whatever it needs. Okay, so both the coffins untapping. Oh my goodness. I mean, that's just some classic old school. So untapping both the coffins, the angel coming out, and then balancing to get rid of the Serra angel, and then of course you have just enough mana to double coffin the factories. Yeah, I think you because if you double attack here, they have to tap City of Brass, going down to 1 life. Yep. Singleton deck now needs a big threat. It's kind of been playing on defense. And Gwendolyn coming out from Legends. And it's just going to get Swords to Plowshare, but that does gain some life there. Gaining 3 life. So that life gain does allow the City of Brass to be used again. We're going to regrowth. Okay. Unclear exactly what was regrowthed there. We might see it now, though. The Icy. Okay, the Icy Manipulator. Okay, that does protect against, you know, well, the 2 Serras are dead. I mean, they could be regrowthed. And any other additional factories doesn't help. Okay, and there's a book. Doesn't help against Fireball. Or any additional bolts. Oh, gonna go tap down the cities. Gonna do it again. And a Time Walk. Oh, we're gonna get a big counter spell. I mean, the Singleton deck holding in there. It's 5-3 on the life totals. Okay, the deck will start digging. Discarding Library of Alexandria. Doesn't really matter this late in the game. I mean, the Singleton deck, I feel like, has so many creatures. Maybe I have to double check the deck list. We're going to go to 3. We're going to get the regrowth. Okay, you could regrowth the Lightning Bolt, and if they don't have a counter, and they don't... I don't know if that's an anticlimactic ending. There was a Swords in hand. Wow, I mean, the Singleton deck, I mean, came real close to winning that one. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. So we go into game 2. We're just going to get a turn 1 Ancestral Recall. That's always risky if you don't get anything else to play. Okay. Assuming he kept a hand with no lands and Mox and Recall. That's fun. And the deck is just going to drop down Lotuses, Mox, and Tundra. At least here, Assume probably has a counter spell now. Oh, disenchanting the Black Lotus. Devastating. Devastating. Get that flower petal out of here. Okay, now we got an early tome. Strip Mine, the only land there, the Tundra. I mean, this Singleton deck just, really punching hard. Here it comes in a Freet. It's gonna get a Swords during upkeep. Copying, I assume, the Jalem Tome. It is. I think that's a good move. Now it could keep up with the deck. Okay, we're gonna an orb. No orb flip. Okay, what is the Divine Offering targeting? It was targeting, I guess, the orb, and in response, the orb is flipped on the copy artifact. Okay, well, that gets rid of the orb. Potentially, the Singleton deck has a creature or something it didn't want to get orb flipped. It doesn't mind. Okay, Fellwar Stone. Yep. Oh, and there it is. The Guardian Beast. That's going to be a snap counter. Such a cool card. Love the artwork on Guardian Beast. And of course, you can create the infinite Chaos Orb flip. I had that happen to me at an in-person tournament. And I lost, for the record. And there was a Time Twister. Okay. And a giant Brain Geyser. We are going to get a mana drain for who knows how, for 4, and then an Ancestral Recall. Pretty well played to protect the Ancestral Recall, I guess, there. Oh, it's for 5. Loses a big, draw 5, but does get to still draw with Ancestral Recall, so. Oh, it was for 6. Devastating mana drain, but made a little bit more palpable by the recall. So now the deck just has a ton of mana. It can do its own. Brain Geyser would be brutal here. Or is it a Mind Twist? Ah. Relic Barrier. The Soul Canar. Oh, Soul Canar was definitely coming out. Brutal. And again, the deck just wants to buy time. So discard your hand. Have fun drawing cards. I'm just going to, just sit here and wait till they get a factory. Okay. Draw a card, pass, draw a card, pass. Well, the deck not really taking advantage of that Mind Twist, and now the Singleton deck back up to 3-4 cards in hand. An incredibly miscut Scrubland. Yeah, okay, you're just going to counter that, the book. It can be frustrating playing against control deck where you just can't play what you want, but just gotta play more cards than they have counter spells. And the Chaos Orb comes back. We are setting up a just massive fireball here from either player. Or something. Okay, Factory Lotus. Regrowth. Is this going to get countered? Yes, it is. Okay. It feels like a lot. I see some of the counter spells I lost count might have been put back in with the Time Twister, so it just feels like you're constantly being countered. Okay, and the Icy Manipulator coming down. Okay, we're going to get an Orb Flip, I assume on the Icy, yep. That was on end step, and here comes the Factory. So usually at this point in the game, the deck, it's kind of like a Boa Constrictor. It's just going to lock you out. It's going to be really hard. Like, the odds that the deck has Swords to Plowshare in hand for any creature. I mean, here comes a Black Lotus for just a massive Brain Geyser. That was at least for 5, right? Or maybe more. Okay, pulling another Factory out. At this point, I think the single deck obviously has so much, drawing more lands. But any creature that comes out is just going to get, you know, countered or swords or killed. And then the Serra Angel coming out. Coming in for 7. And a Bolt, so this means next turn, Lethal is on board. And they had a counter spell in hand, and that's it. I mean, yeah, you get to a point in the middle of the game where it's just like the deck kind of is, you know, once it's ahead, it just wins like that. You really have to get lucky or play really quick early on to kind of catch it off guard. But the Singleton deck, honestly, was way cooler. Absolutely loved it. I would love to make one myself one day. And anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed another game of old school Magic the Gathering and seeing some of these old cards been thrown around. Thank you.